Hello and welcome back. If you're new to the channel, welcome. And if you've been following along through the PIW-CWG series, thank you for staying with it and taking the time to listen carefully. Up to this point, we've talked about persistence, gradients, entropy, collapse, filtering, and information imprint. All of those ideas point toward a deeper pattern that can sound strange at first, even though it doesn't require anything exotic. The universe behaves as if it is learning. That doesn't mean the universe is conscious. It doesn't mean it has goals, beliefs, or awareness. What it means is quieter than that. Outcomes accumulate, and eliminated possibilities stay eliminated. That is what inference is at its most basic level. Inference doesn't require a mind. It requires constraint. When a system undergoes change and certain outcomes become impossible to reverse, the future is shaped by that elimination. The universe does this constantly, without intention, simply by persisting forward in time. Every irreversible process removes options. Every failed configuration disappears. Every surviving structure is evidence that many alternatives did not persist. That accumulation of exclusions is inference. When humans perform inference, we update beliefs. When the universe performs inference, it updates constraints. The mechanism is different, but the logic is the same. The present is shaped by what the past has already ruled out. Large-scale structure is the result of billions of years of that process. Early in the universe, there were tiny differences, slight variations in density, temperature, and geometry. On their own, those differences didn't decide anything. What mattered was how they interacted with persistence, gradients, and entropy over time. Fluctuations that led to stable flows survived. Those that couldn't move entropy or maintain structure vanished. Over time, the space of viable configurations narrowed dramatically. What we observe today is not a random arrangement. It is the residue of what remained possible. That's why the universe looks structured, even though nothing planned it. This also explains why the universe doesn't need to explore every possibility evenly. It doesn't start fresh at each moment. It carries forward the results of previous eliminations. Once an option is removed, it stays removed. Inference works by remembering failure. In physics, memory of failure is irreversibility. When entropy increases, returning to a previous state becomes inaccessible without additional work. That path is gone. The universe has learned that configuration does not persist. Multiply that process across all interactions, everywhere, over cosmic time, and you get a universe that looks increasingly constrained, increasingly structured, and increasingly selective. Not because it was aiming for those outcomes, but because everything else was filtered out. This reframes how we think about explanation. We often look for causes as forces pushing systems toward results. But many large-scale features of the universe are better understood as the accumulated outcome of inference, the shape left behind after countless alternatives failed. Galaxies are not chosen solutions. Filaments are not optimal designs. They are survivors. This perspective also explains why prediction in cosmology is hard. Inference is path-dependent. Small differences early on can lead to very different outcomes later, not because laws change, but because the sequence of eliminations differs. The universe doesn't converge on a single result. It converges on a constrained family of results. From the PIW-CWG perspective, inference connects persistence filtering to the arrow of time. The past doesn't just precede the present, it restricts it. The universe moves forward by accumulating evidence against alternatives. That is learning without a learner. And importantly, this doesn't replace existing physics. It reframes how we interpret what physics already describes. Equations tell us how systems evolve. Inference tells us why only certain evolutions remain visible. Structure is not planned, it is inferred. This also brings humility to how we think about our place in the universe. We are not the goal of the process. We are one of the many patterns that happen to survive the filtering long enough to reflect on it. The universe didn't know we were coming. But once we arrived, our existence became another constraint, another imprint, another piece of information shaping what comes next. Before I close, thank you for taking the time to listen to this episode. These ideas stretch intuition, but they don't require new assumptions, only patience. My name is Charles Carroll, and this is part of the PIWCWG series. In the next episode, we'll talk about horizons, what survives the edge of the observable universe, and how information is encoded when access disappears. Thanks for being here.